We to brag right now. We're 1-1, just like the Philadelphia Eagles. But clock management, situational football rears its ugly head once again out in Philly as the Falcons come back 22-21 to win that game late on Monday Night Football. Fourth blow lead for the Eagles over the last year when it comes to leading in the game with 2 minutes left. All right, leading a game with 2 minutes left. They've blown 4 leads over the past calendar year. That's the most in the NFL, or tied for most in the NFL. So, look, man, it's a good day. Well, it's a bad day in Philadelphia. We get a little smile on our face, but we got our own issues here. As we say, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. Good morning to everybody out there getting out their graveyard shift. What is happening to all the overnight dancers, all the truck drivers, all the janitors, teachers, cops, you name it. Deebo Samuel now is out for a few weeks for the San Francisco 49ers. And I got that news after a nap, Shasky. After a nap, Deebo Samuel out for the next few weeks. So this Rams game where they got a bunch of guys beat up, the 49ers have a bunch of guys beat up, it's no time to panic. But it's definitely gut check time in the first quarter of the season here. And a gotta have a game against the LA Rams. Deebo on the shelf for the next 3 weeks. No McCaffrey, no Pearsall. We don't even know how good he is. And so we're going to find out about Brock Purdy over the next couple of weeks here with the 49ers.
All right, so before I get into the Niners, because, the Niners just, I love them so much. They drive me crazy sometimes. The injuries, it's just, I feel like I can't have nice things for multiple weeks. That being said, just allow me an opportunity, Bonte, to just enjoy a Philly loss. Now, it doesn't make the Niners loss any sweeter or anything like that. It's a nice unintended consequence of silver linings. My grandma used to say to me, Joe, the grass isn't always greener. You can't keep up with the Joneses. No, but I can be very happy when the Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, and the like lose games. And so I'm here for the enjoyment of seeing Sirianni with the befuddled, stupid face look all over him. Okay, I'm just here for it. I needed that after all of the news of the last, 36 hours or so. Whether it's the McCaffrey might be out for, ever. Deebo hurting his calf, the Niners losing that game that way. Whew! The thing I am allowed to feel good about is that I know when push comes to shove, my coach can literally go to the whiteboard and actually draw up solutions for my team. I'm not sure Nick Sirianni can do that. Yeah. So,
but we want them to win just enough to keep Sirianni in that seat. We don't want him fired.
That's true.
We do not want him fired.
We don't want Belichick sniffing around that job.
Now, you see the Eagles' defense. It's on our screen right now. Their pressure rate, 30th in the league, 23%. They allow 7 yards per play so far in the first 2 weeks of the season, and they do not have A.J. Brown. But you think about that situation yesterday, I was thinking, okay, they threw the ball on 3rd and 3, and Saquon drops it. By the way, there was Joe Buck on the call there. But earlier in the game, bookmark early in the game, they had a 4th and 4 on the inside the 10-yard line, and they elected to go for it on the 4th and 4. They said no to the 3 points. Let's go for it. And they went for it. So late in the game, their final possession, they drop a great pass play to Saquon Barkley in the flat. He drops it on 3rd and 3. Now, a lot of us thought, run the ball there. Run the ball there. Eat the clock, and make Atlanta call that last time out. But you don't. You don't. Excuse me, Atlanta didn't have any timeouts at that point. They were done. They run the ball. No timeouts. Run the ball. 40 seconds gets off the clock, and maybe you run it again. You set up the tush push. You get the first down, and you end the game, and you win, and you're 2-0 going into next week in the New Orleans in the Superdome. But you pass it, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's 2-down territory.
That's what I thought.
And they elect to go for the field goal when it's only going to put you up 6.
Well, now, this goes back to, so there's a variety of elements here, like congruity on thought process of aggression, right? Like, it's one thing to be, like, and Brandon Staley kind of suffered from this, like, we're a go-for-it team. All right, so if it's 4th and 13 and you're backed up in your own 11 and you're what was it, the Raiders that one year? It's like, no, you don't go for it in that situation. You punt it, and, like, there's a time and a place. Early in a game when it's 0-0, I don't know, just me. And I know the Niners did the same thing, and they were right on the 1, so it was a little different.
Right.
I do love taking the points early in a game.
Early in the game, take the lead.
I understand why you want to punch it in and get 6 and really get the momentum. And I know there's a whole home versus road and momentum. Like, I'll listen to all of those arguments. But late in the game, and you referenced it, to me, I thought it was 2-down territory because if you score a touchdown, the game is over.
just run to get a first down, the game is over.
Exactly. You get a first down and the game is over.
Atlanta should not touch the ball the rest of the game.
And that's kind of the way I'm doing it, especially when you see how lethal the tush push is.
Yeah.
To me, everything should be designed to get us a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 situation, because I know that I have one of the most unstoppable plays in the sport. And then, like, when the clock stops, I keep going back to the clock. I mean, it's a constant theme in the NFL right now. You cannot be a head coach in the modern NFL if you are not 2 and 3 steps ahead of where the fans are when it comes to clock management, understanding situational football, and because our awareness of it, because of Madden, because of fantasy football, because now we can watch every game, whether you're on the Red Zone or whether you're watching on not DirecTV, but whatever it's called, the NFL
YouTube
package.
TV,
like, we see everything. And so if you don't understand the clock and you don't understand what's going on here, a minute 40 for a team in the NFL to march down?
Eternity. Eternity.
It's just like, well, they don't have any timeouts.
Dude,
they don't need any.
They literally scored with about a minute, 34 seconds left. So it took them a minute 5 to score. A minute and 5 seconds to score yesterday after the kickoff. And I'm looking back at the 4th and 4, Shasky.
And they took their time, by the way.
They took their time. They went out of bounds. They took their time. They set up in the same formation. Peyton Manning on the board. Manning's like, I like this. They're in the same formation, running different plays, but you don't have a bunch of guys scribbling all around. The 4th and 4 was from their own 9-yard line, from the Falcons' 9-yard line early in the game.
Yeah.
It felt a little aggressive.
That's what I'm saying.
It felt aggressive. It's like, Sirianni, take the points, take the lead. It's a struggle bus right now. You don't have A.J. Brown. Points are at a premium.
Would you agree inside the 2 or 3 and going for it is different than at the 9?
At the 9 is completely different.
So we agree.
Completely different.
Some people will say, oh, no. Going for it is going for it. And I'm like,
No, 4th and 4.
That's what I'm saying.
It's 4th and 4. It's
From
not a gimme. From the 9, you're at home. There's no score. Take the points. Take the points.
Especially against a team that they feel limited, the Atlanta Falcons. It's not like, hey, we're facing the Chiefs and we know we need to score touchdowns. Okay, I'll listen to that argument. Yep. Kirk Cousins, until the final drive, looked very pedestrian.
Well, you don't blitz him on the final drive.
I don't know.
You can't move. Send 5, send 6. What are you waiting for? You have to be aggressive defensively to try to force a turnover, try to deflect a PBU. It was like the Eagles were playing 7-on-7 or something at the end of the first half. What are you doing there? So you do go for it in the first quarter, and you decide not to go for it at the end of the game. Well, Ryan Clark has some interesting things from ESPN to say about Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni might have just saved the Atlanta Falcons season.
It's that big.
And I think he definitely changed the course of Kirk Cousins' season. And it's not because that one play did so much, but that one play allowed the Atlanta Falcons a chance to go be great.
And here's Saquon Barkley.
I could sit here and, complain and be upset about it, or I could be a professional athlete and go back to the drawing board and take the lick and move on and get better from it. I made that play multiple times. I missed that play before, too.
I'm not going to sugarcoat.
Meaning the situation. That happens part of the game, and I just got to be better. I let my team down. I got to man up to it. I got to own it, which I'm doing, and I can promise those guys in his locker room that I'm going to be better from them.
All right, that was Ryan Clark on Sirianni. That was Saquon Barkley. Oh, you got Sirianni as well? Oh, here's Sirianni.
Yeah, what does he have to say?
Here's Sirianni on the decision to pass on 3rd and 3.
In that scenario, I was thinking they might not have any timeouts there, but obviously they did with the incomplete pass. That would have came down to maybe a minute, and so we wanted to go up 6 points, and it didn't work. So, the decision to pass it there, again, like I said, where they were junking it up inside, with it being 4th and 3 to go for it, I thought, with them not having any timeouts, I wanted them to be down a touchdown and see if they could drive the field, and they did.
All right, that's the type of answer that'll get you fired in about 5 weeks. That is just awful.
It's incongruent, though, B. Would you agree, we want them to be on a touchdown? Okay, well, to me, then it's 2-down territory at the end there. If it's 3rd down, you go for it on 4th. If that's what your thought process is.
I really got lost with what he was saying. He started off, just listen to it again, huh?
In that scenario, I was thinking they might not have any timeouts there, but obviously they did with the incomplete pass. That would have came down.
But they had a timeout because of the incomplete pass. Well, you threw the ball. So that's why they had the timeout. All right? That's why they had the timeout. Now, it was a great play design. Saquon's got to catch the ball.
Of course.
He's got to catch the ball. But at the same time, you're running it with success. You're going up the middle and gashing them. Overall, the Eagles averaged 5 yards a carry. Now, a lot of that was Jalen Hurts getting out the pocket and running.
I thought Jalen was awesome.
I thought Saquon, he averaged over 4.3 yards a carry, 22 for 95. He was bruising, and you have one of the best offensive lines in football. Get behind them. They can't stop you. Get you a yard or two, and it sets up the tush push. So, Sirianni, you gave them the timeout by even throwing the football and risking that. And then, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's two-down territory.
Yeah.
They're going to pass it. Yeah, he left to go for the field goal to go up 6. Hey, Sirianni, all they got to do is score and kick an extra point. Now, the extra point was a lot longer because of the celebration by Drake London, but cool, he nailed it. He nailed it. So, I mean, that answer's just pathetic. That's pathetic.
Okay, so
that'll get you fired in that market.
No doubt. Drake London scores the touchdown. And I guess my feed was behind. I was watching on the iPad. I was feeding the baby. He kept touching the screen. I was all over the place, right? And Michelle was down in San Jose. And so I go, wait a minute, penalty? What happened? And Sam's like, yeah, he let the chopper out or whatever Sam said in the thread. And I'm like, oh, I see it now. And he's like shooting a gun at the fans. I'm like,
I think he was playing duck hunt or something.
he was skeet shooting.
Yeah, skeet shooting or something like that.
Either way, probably not the best thing to do after this most recent weekend's events.
No, I agree, but I didn't see it. And so, you know when the text messages are ahead of your own feed when you're watching something, and I'm like, all right, you know what? He deserved that penalty.
Yep. So the Eagles are in trouble here. The NFC East, the winner may have 9 wins by the end of the day. 10 wins, maybe. Philly travels to New Orleans next week without A.J. Brown. Going to be very, very intriguing. And again, the Eagles' defense has given up 7 yards per play on the season, 7 yards per play, and they're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. You think they want Hassan Reddick back? Oh, boy, they can't get anything.
Wait.
Saints are hot.
A.J. Brown's out next week?
Oh, he's out for the next few weeks.
My fantasy team's in shambles.
Oh, that's what it's all about.
You and the Niners.
Well, what else is it about?
I mean,
come on. AJ, well, I got him in fantasy too, but that's the auto-drafted league, which I don't care about anymore. Because I'm like, they did me wrong.
True.
But anyway, AJ Brown's out for a few weeks with a hammy. He's out for a few weeks with a hammy. So they're in trouble in Philadelphia. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, they're playing Baltimore this week in Dallas. The Eagles, look at their next 3 games. At New Orleans, at Tampa Bay, who they got bounced by in the playoffs, and then they host the Cleveland Browns.
all right. So I know you're focused on the NFC East. I want to take 1 second out to look at the NFC South. NFC South, as it's a walk it back Tuesday. I'm sorry. I completely underrated you. Tampa Bay, I didn't give you enough credit at all. I considered you a playoff team, but not a true contender. I could be eating my words. I mean, it was only 2 games, but at the same time, you look very, very good. You went up and won a humongous game in Detroit. Humongous game in an ugly way.
And they'll be 3-0 because they hosted Denver Broncos this week.
They're a battle-tested roster that a lot of guys on that team have won high-level playoff games. They were the ones that knocked out Philly last year. Then I look at New Orleans. Didn't see this coming. I'm like, wow. Like, the Kubiak who's running the offense, they look completely different. Kamara looks like he's CMC right now, even though we know he's been a great player for a long time. And then Atlanta winning that game, like, don't count them out just yet. Even though I know it looked ugly at times, and I still think they're a work in progress, the NFC South looks way better than I thought.
Well, the Falcons, they get fat and happy at the end of the season. They host the Giants, they play the Commanders, they play the Panthers.
Oof.
They've got the Broncos later in the season. But these next 3 games for them, they host Kansas City, Sunday Night Football. They host the Saints. Then they host the Buccaneers. So they have 3 straight home games against teams that haven't lost a game yet this season. Now, the Saints, we're going to find out a lot about, but the Saints, with the way they scored, they could be that. Now, they're probably the surprise team now in the NFC. There's always a team that elevates, and now we can identify that it's probably the Saints. And you look at their next 2 weeks, or next 3 weeks, New Orleans Saints. They host the Philadelphia Eagles, who are beat up. It's a big-time game in the Superdome.
That's a big game.
Big game.
Wow, that's
huge.
That's a huge game.
And then you go to Atlanta the week after. You play the Falcons, and that's a rivalry game. They hate each other, the Falcons and the Saints. Those cities hate each other. That's going to be wild. And then they go to Kansas City for Monday Night Football.
Oh, God, I hate the Chiefs. I hate him
Did it
so
go to
much.
kids?
Now,
That's a loss. Derek Carr in Kansas City. So he's chalked up.
relax.
So like